What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys another Top 10 Tuesday. Sorry I'm a bit late on this one, but that just means that you get two Top 10 Tuesdays this week. Last week was Satanic Cult, and I wanted to hop on this one, and I wanted to record a video, but I just got lazy, but I'm here now to do that. Also, it actually took me quite a while to put this list together, because I didn't want to do just cults. Just cults, because there's so many horror movies with cults. I wanted to make it specific. I didn't want to do just satanic films, stuff like The Exorcist. I wanted to do satanic cults. So I tried to stay really close to that. I did sort of venture off in a few titles, but for the most part, I did stick pretty much to the exact theme. And it was hard because I haven't seen a ton of these films. So with that said, let's jump into this video. Coming in at number 10, we have Silent Hill. Now this one just barely made the cut, and it really isn't my favorite movie, but I do remember really digging it the first time I watched it. I have since revisited it one time, and I just thought that it was decent, nothing super special. It was a lot more creepy when I first watched it. I don't know if because I had played one of the video games since I had seen it, and then the second time I had the memory of the video game in my head, or if it was just that, at the time it came out, it seemed to be a little better, just based on sort of, it's very sort of stylized, has a lot of like CG and stuff, and maybe I was a little bit more forgiving when it first came out than I am now. Still a lot of creepy, cool cult-like stuff in there. Wish it was a little bit more hardcore and a little less CGI. Felt more realistic in terms of just the world that it was in. Everything felt a little too fantasy at times, but for the most part, it was still a decently, made video game film. So coming in at number 9, we have The Last Exorcism. Now you might be thinking, oh, The Last Exorcism? Why is that on your list? Well, I can't really say without spoiling it, but it does have to do with some satanic cult-like stuff. This is a film that a lot of people really did not love when it came out, and I popped it in. Well, I rented it from the Redbox one time. I popped it in. I was like, really? Like, what did people hate so much about this movie? It does have an interesting ending, to say the least, and I think some people had a little backlash towards that, but I actually thought it was pretty cool. And I was like, you need films like this to sort of break the mold sometimes and maybe do the thing that everybody might find annoying, but at the same time, if you didn't have endings like this ever, then other endings wouldn't be as effective, and vice versa. I thought that it ended pretty well. I love the concept of this guy is there to prove that exorcisms are bullshit. I love that concept. The title of this movie is stupid considering there was a sequel, but anyway, it's a film that, has Eli Roth's name all over. He just produced it. I think it was a pretty effective little horror movie, and I definitely very much enjoyed it for its found footage nature. The Last Exorcism is pretty solid, and for that reason it makes number 9 on my top 10 satanic cults list. Coming in at number 8, we have The House of the Devil. I'm not going to go into this too much. I've done a whole podcast review on this, but this film opens up and it's set in like the 80s, so it's definitely very throwback, which I really, really love. That's one of my favorite things about this movie. And just from the very beginning, where you spend a lot of time with this character, she got a Walkman. It's just so throwback that it really feels like you're watching an old school horror movie, which I really loved. There's a few big shocking moments in it, but I did sort of have problems with the pacing of it the second time that I watched it. The first time I watched this film, I very much enjoyed it. Very slow burn, like I said, throwback. It doesn't really hold up on rewatch. I feel like this is a one and done type movie. Of course, Ty West has done fantastic jobs on films such as The Sacrament, his segment in VHS, stuff like that. But this one was sort of really his first big movie. He did The Roost, which I like as well, but this is the first one that caused a lot of waves. Very, very decent. I like the film a lot, just that on rewatch, it's not one that I'm going to run back and rewatch anytime soon. So for that, it is number 10, 9, 8 on my list of satanic cult movies. Coming in at number 7, we have The Devil Rides Out. Now, I do not own this film, but I have watched it. It's from 1968. It's a really good movie. It actually made my top 10 of 1968, I believe, or it just missed the cut. I'm pretty sure it made it though. It's a really cool movie in terms of the satanic cult nature of the film. I mean, it is as satanic cult as it gets. Like, it is a movie about a satanic cult. And the 60s and early 70s really had a lot of films sort of based in the occult, which I really like that era of films for that reason. This one, I don't know, for some reason watching it, it is really hard to connect for me. I love what's going on. I love the ideas and the concepts and some of the stuff we're seeing, but for some reason it is the pacing of it just drives me insane sometimes. There's scenes that I just feel like are watered down the film, but there's some really, really cool scenes, and for that alone, those really cool scenes of cult action where it's like an actual cult and like rituals and shit like that. It's pretty badass for the 60s, and I love the concept of like this guy's friend is like joining a cult and he's like trying to save him and shit. Really, really cool movie. Just a little bit slow, but it does make number 7 on my Satanic Cults list. So coming in next we have number 6, and that is Deadly Blessing. This film is one that I go back and forth with. The first time I watched it, I found it very underwhelming. Of course, this is Wesley Craven directed. Scream Factory put this out. I still am a big fan of this release because the film didn't have a release before this. And, it's one that I was happy was done before Wes Craven died. You get to hear a little bit of his thoughts on it. Seems like he was very content with the film. He didn't think that it was the best film he ever made or even close to it, but he did think that it had certain qualities about it that he liked. So I do go back and forth on it. I like it. I didn't like it when I first seen it, and then as I watched it with the commentary and learned a little bit more about it and watched the special features, I kind of grew a little bit more of an appreciation for it. There's just something about it. Maybe it's just one that it doesn't connect with me out of Wesley Craven's films, but it is growing on me, and I do like the sort of Hittite characters, this Amish people almost. Very, very cool. A very, very cool film. It's one of those films that you go back and forth on, and a lot of these cult-like films I do that anyway with. I don't know if it's just that they don't have a huge rewatch or what, but that is Deadly Blessing. Coming in at number 5, we have VHS 2. Now, I know what you're thinking, oh, the whole film is not about a satanic cult, but you're correct. But it does have that one segment which was amazing. Like, one of the best cult moments in any movie is that entire VHS 2 segment. Absolutely love it. It goes batshit crazy and it doesn't stop. And you're just like, what in the hell is going on? Why are these things happening? Oh my god, what the hell is that? That thing is scary. Get away. Let's run. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Oh my god, it's fault. Like, it's so crazy. I absolutely love the VHS 2 segment. I actually don't know the name of the segment, which is poor on my part, but I thought I actually owned VHS 2, but either I do and I can't find it, or I just never had it. That's interesting though, but VHS 2, solid stuff. Definitely a great segment with that cult scene. It's one of the best segments in the entire franchise. So coming in at number 4, we have Starry Eyes. This film, you can barely see the cover there. It does have an alternate cover, which I like this one better, so I keep it on there. Whew, boy, I love this movie. It did make my top 10 of 2014. Very, very high on my top 10, actually. I think it was like top 3. It's a very well-made movie. It's very, very good. The more I kind of thought about it, the more I actually liked it, and I'm sure with revisit, I've only seen it that one time still, but I'm sure with a revisit I will sort of have a lot of different experiences, notice different things, because it has a lot of subtext to the film. It really handles the Hollywood lifestyle very well, the struggling actor, actress, sort of subculture that's in that. I mean, it is brilliant. It's a movie about Hollywood and the side of Hollywood, the seedy part of it, and what people are willing to do to become big and follow their dreams. And it's interesting because the main character, who you're supposed to be siding with, if you really kind of think about it, if you're really paying attention to what she does, her friends are made out to look like the bad guys, but really she's kind of the bad guy. And that's what's really interesting about this film, as well as all the satanic cult-like stuff later on in the film. Really, really cool. It's sort of like a cross between like Rosemary's Baby and some other shit. I really, really like Starry Eyes. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Really good stuff. And it makes my number 4 in my satanic cults top 10. So, breaking into that top 3, I have to pick this one. I mean, it's one of my favorites. Children of the Corn. Yes. This movie holds up so well. It's just a movie that some people might consider dated, but the last time I watched it, I just appreciated it so much. There's so much just awesome stuff happening in the movie. I love the opening at the like Johnson's whatever, the milkshake place. I forget what it was called, but you know, the massacre there, it's so beautifully shot. It's probably the best scene in the movie. And then following the characters as they go into this small sleepy town. This is a film that really doesn't work in 2016. Like, you can't really do it. I'm sure we'll see more attempts at Children of the Corn as the years go on, but it's really a film that you have to kind of set in the 70s or 80s. It works better that way. But just the casting and the religious tones in this film are awesome. I've always loved them, and it's always a film that really creeped me out. Love Children of the Corn so much that it makes my number 3 in my top 10 satanic cults list. Coming in at number 2, it is a new one, but it is a good one. We have Rob Zombie's Lords of Salem. Whew, boy, I love this movie. My number 2 in my top 10 of 2013. This film is fantastic. Love it. It's one of those movies that I've only seen one time, but I really truly did love it. It's a film that I was unsure about when I first seen it. The very first second after I watched it, I was like, But then, as I got to thinking about it, and I thought about it more, and I thought about it as our top 10 list came about, I just fell in love with it. And I really do want to revisit it, but I've just kind of held off for a little while. I absolutely love the lenticular slip-on here. I'm so glad I have this edition. It's a movie that does have a lot to do with witches, which you might say, oh, that's not satanic cults, but I will say, based on what is going on, and it's not witches doing black magic, it's witches doing satanic cult sacrifice ritualistic shit. So yeah, technically it is a witch film, but it also definitely fits in the satanic cult section, because you can see by what happens in the end and what happens late in the film what the hell's really going on. It's shot so beautifully. It's like Rosemary's Baby and The Shining and Suspiria and all these different films that Rob Zombie probably grew up loving and watching, and that's what I've always liked about Rob Zombie, is they're horror fans films. That's what he makes. He makes horror movies for horror fans, and he is a horror fan, and people hate it and say he copies, and people say like he isn't talented, and to them I say, you're absolutely wrong. It's okay to be wrong. Some people are wrong, and you know, let's move on. Just, you know, sometimes people are wrong. I'm just kidding. So with that said, guys, let's hop into number 1. We have, I mean, can you expect anything different? We have Rosemary's Baby. This is definitely the best satanic cult film I've ever seen. It is a long movie, but it does not feel long. It is so good. Love it, love it, love it. I actually have the Criterion here, thanks to the homie Godzilla for hooking me up with this baby. It is still sealed, even though it's kind of peeling right here. I have not popped this bad boy in yet, but trust me when I say I am very much looking forward to it. I absolutely love this movie. I fell in love with it the moment that I seen it. I just was so into it, and the ending was really powerful to me. You know, just, you maniacs, what have you done to its eyes? You know, I love that shit, man. It's so chilling to me. Rosemary's Baby is where it is at. Love this movie so much, and that is why Rosemary's Baby makes my number 1 in my top 10 satanic cults list. See you guys later today with my top 10 trilogies.